Welcome to the short video content creation course. Welcome back. And now we're going to talk about the composition of your frame. In order your video to be pleasant to the eye of your viewer, you need to ensure you abide by the laws of composition or composition rules. The main goal of the composition rules is to direct attention of the viewer where you want it to be directed. So which composition rules we are going to discuss? Because there are many composition rules, and because we are recording vertical video portrait format, we need just to know few. So I will stop and cover the rule of a third, then balancing the frame, working with distracting elements, and the depth of field. In the video that we are creating, the type of the video we are creating, the main object is you. So you are in the center of the attention because you are teaching, you are explaining something in this portrait layout. It looks like to be simple, but it's not that simple. You can't just place yourself in the frame in front of camera however you like. Like for example this. First of all, it looks unprofessional, and secondly, it is irritating. So you need to understand the rule of thirds, and here it is. The rule of thirds is when the frame is imaginary cut into or divided into three parts. So vertically it is divided to three parts, and horizontally it is divided to three parts. And it looks like this, like there is a grid. So you could see maybe on your phone or in camera setting that there is a possibility to add grid lines. So this is why those grid lines are there, so that you can create very appealing to the eye composition. And the lines represent the most common area of attention. So this is where the eye of a viewer usually goes, either to the line, any of those lines, or to the crossing of those lines, especially to the crossing of those lines. So when the composition is set according to the rule of third, the main thing is for the object inside the frame to be crossing with the grid line. So what does it mean? It should be connecting with the grid line. So let's say if I'm the object, the most important thing in me is my eyes, because I want my eyes to connect with the viewer. So where my eyes should be located on the level of the higher grid line, horizontal grid line. And if I have captions, this colorful text that is appearing and attracting attention, those captions should be located on the lower grid line. And in this way the picture will look professionally, and it will be appealing to the eye. It is going to be looking beautiful. The object itself can be positioned in the center, which means it is not on the right and not on the left. It is just in the center, and it's a different rule. It's called the symmetry rule. So anything that is symmetric also looks good, but it doesn't cancel the other rule where your eyes should be on the line of the higher grid. Another thing about the placement of the object is that some platforms, they have different dimensions for the same video showing in different timelines. For example, in Facebook there is a timeline where you see all your subscriptions, all your friends, what they are sharing, and also there is a timeline for only videos. So if you click on Reels, you have timeline for only Reels. And the way the same Reels are showing in your timeline and in Reels timeline, they have different proportions, different aspect ratio. For example, in timeline you will see the 9:16 vertical video cut at the bottom. So what you see now, the rose, the red rose part will not be seen, only the green part will be seen. So it means that the rule of third that was applied to the vertical video now doesn't work, because the green part of the video that is going to be visible in timeline is different aspect ratio. It is 3:4. It is almost square, but it's this portrait not that long, it's shorter than usual screen of your phone. So in this case, you will see that people will see that your face is below this grid line where it should be. In this case, it means that we need to adjust the composition or adjust the grid line. Now we will use this green part of the video, this part that is visible in Facebook timeline, without expanding the video to full size of it. So it is gonna be the portrait size, and it's gonna be 3x4, and we will apply the grid line to this part only and move the object upper. But if this video is gonna be used in Reels of Facebook, in Reels of Instagram, in YouTube Shorts, in TikTok, then they will not have the same issue with the positioning of the video. They will see a full video. So in those platforms, how this adjusted video will look. So I think there is no problem, because although we move the object upper, we still have grid lines crossing on the face, but now it's not going to be crossing at the eye level, it's going to be crossing at the mouth level, which is not that bad, because you know all the attention is going to be to your mouth, and like people will be waiting for what are you saying. This is given more dynamism. It's like people are waiting for each word to come out of your mouth and looking at your mouth. You might feel uncomfortable by just hearing this. Everyone prefers people looking into their eyes, but that's just the way we deal with different formats in different platforms, because we don't want to create different videos for each platform. We will just create one short, and remember that we need to adjust a little bit our composition. And in case you are using one hand to show something, like you have a hand gesture and it's from right side or from left side, then if you position yourself as an object in front of the camera and you have the size of the shot close up, which means that like your hands is not going to be shown, it's going to be like that. This is what we learned in previous video. Then you might need to move yourself a little bit to the right and locate yourself as an object on one grid line, like it would be in the center of your face, and give some space to your hand so that it's gonna be seen. In that case, you might need to apply other composition rules, like you need to bring balance into the frame. Because you shifted to the right, your frame became a little bit unbalanced because you are on the right and the emptiness is on the left side. So what do? You have to apply the rule balance in the frame, which means that you have to have some additional object on the left side that will be filling up the free and empty space, but also it shouldn't draw the attention on you. So in this illustration, you can see that on the right side there is a main object, and then on the other side, on the opposite side where there is a space, there is additional object that brings up a little bit more interest. So the next rule, it says do not allow distractive elements. If you have this flower, let's say, or the plant on the opposite side of you in the frame, then it might be distractive, especially if this flower is somehow growing out of your ear or out of your hair, or if you have like a tree growing out of your hair because it's just right behind your head. You shouldn't allow this. So you should look to avoid having destructive elements growing out of your head, out of your hands, like it is shown in the illustration. So now, in this case, what do? In this case, if we cannot move the object or move ourselves, that will help us to balance properly and avoid destructive elements, then we can apply the depth of field. Depth of field is a setting in the camera that is not available in all phones, but in iPhone and in cameras with the zoom, they are available in most of them. It allows you to blur the background. So if you are sitting in the room and the background is a little bit busy and you don't want it to be seen, you can blur a little bit the background. But it's also not good to have too much blurriness, and it's not good to have the blurriness that is visible that is an effect from your phone, and is like, it doesn't look natural. So the blurriness has to be very slight, just, you know, to remove distraction, but not to bring another distraction, which is blurriness. So all these rules, the three last rules, they are applicable to situation when you have in the background some objects, like you are in the room. In my case, I want to avoid this, and that's why I'm using the background, which is the material, it's fabric that is on the background, and you don't have to worry about the composition so much because you are in the center and that's all. But there is one more rule that I want to ask you to follow, is never cut the head. Keep the head. There are many people who are cutting off the head, especially if you have high hair. So if you have very high hair, you most probably will cut those, so because you don't want also your face to be in the center of the frame. Like it should be a little bit higher for eyes to cross the upper line. But sometimes cutting head is unnecessary. You should strive to have the space between your hair and the frame border. So do not cut off head by any means, or if it's possible. And now I believe that it's all rules that you need to know for now in relation to the composition. There are more rules, of course, that can be useful to you, like there is rules about directing lines and things like this, but maybe we can cover them in case we will work with the natural background, not the backdrop. So let's stop